and thank you for joining us. My name is Jairo Mombogwa. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines. My dress, my choice. Kilimani moms in solidarity. Just what does decent dressing entail? We take a closer look. In sports, the national women's volleyball team in the World Grand Prix. Welcome. Now, the recent acts of women being stripped naked in public sparked fresh demonstrations Monday morning with a women's movement that protested at Uhuru Park in support of a woman who was stripped in public on Wednesday for indecent dressing. The movement, dubbed Kilimani Moms, is also planning to use the platform to protest against violence and sexual assault on women. Irene Galgalo reports.
The My Dress, My Choice campaign is a brainchild of women on the Facebook group Kilimani Moms, who are angered by the recent rise in stripping of women in the country. The women were said to have dressed indecently, an action that prompted their stripping. The procession saw women from all walks of life join in solidarity with the women said to have been violated. Among them were female politicians and celebrities. Speaking at the march, Nairobi politician Esther Passaris decried the strippings and stated that no one should dictate what women should wear.
Kama mumekosa kuerevuka tutawaerevusha. Sisi ni wanawake, tuko na heshima yetu. Tuoneshe wanaume kama wanataka kwenda kamiti, tutawasaidia waingie kamiti. Kuvua mwanamke nguo haiwezekani Kenya hii.
The women say there are better ways to address the issue of perceived indecency on a woman apart from stripping her.
Two wrongs don't make a right. You don't have to strip somebody naked and humiliate them in public. There are better ways to deal with that. That person should have been called aside, or a lady called aside and told to ask her, next time please, don't come like this. Yeah, there are better ways to address that than stripping the woman and shoving her left and right.
They also rubbished the claims made by men that the women's dressing is against our culture as Kenyans.
If we start talking about culture, what about the people in Pokot? What about the people in Turkana? They don't wear like blouses. It's not about culture. It's about the mindset of the men, and that is what needs to change.
A number of men joined in the peaceful demonstration, showing their support for the cause.
I'm here to march because I believe in the constitutional right of all women to live, work and walk across Nairobi without any fear of people attacking them, abuse or any interference with their daily affairs.
The women say they should not have anyone dictate how they dress and that men should be their protectors instead of their oppressors.
Men are not supposed to objectify women. They are supposed to respect and protect us. That is what we are calling for. If you want to tell somebody they look good, tell them in a good way. If you want to teach somebody a lesson, do it in the right way.
The women, with their petitions in hand, marched from Uhuru Park to the Embasava Sacco bus terminus, where the first incident of stripping happened. They then went to the Inspector General's office. And that of the Attorney General. The march was for a brief moment interrupted by counter-protesters who were against the My Dress, My Choice campaigns. The troublemakers were, however, overpowered by the women. The demonstrations we see here today stem from the rot that is creeping up into the Kenyan society today. We call upon the government and the civil society to protect women against such violations. Reporting for WTV News, I am Irene Galgalo.
With the disturbing acts of stripping indecently dressed women in public by Kenyan men being criticized, just who is to blame and what are the ways to approach the decency levels in society? Winnie Otieno takes a closer look.
The recent incidents in which touts descended on a passenger trying to board an Embasava matatu to town from Embakasi and stripped her for what they termed as indecent dressing sent shockwaves across Kenya. And like a bushfire, the news spread, making headlines globally. Like they say in journalism, bad news sells. It was sad to see a human being so degraded. Political leaders condemned the act, calling it backward and barbaric, and that cannot be overemphasized.
Enda valisha girlfriend yako vile unataka ama bibi yako vile unataka. Wale wengine wavae vile pia wanataka.
Which begs the question, at what point do you draw the line between decency and indecency?
You don't want to do something that will provoke other people to do something against you. But nevertheless, people also need to respect human beings and understand that they deserve the respect.
The good book, like many theologians call it, refutes indecency and outlines check and balances. Above all, decency and self-respect command personal security and respect at all times from the people around you.
Whichever way we dress, we need to understand that does it glorify God? Because that is important. You know, our bodies are the temple of God. And how should the temple of God be dressed? That is left to our own consciousness. But for what goes outside, sometimes it is important for your own safety as a woman.
That said, ordinarily, men are expected to be the protectors and not the threat. And the recent turn of events should be condemned in the strongest words possible, as those found culpable are brought to book.
That could be my sister. And what would happen if I found people stripping naked my sister? You know, these are the things that really boil out and bring a lot of hostility in the society.
All said and done, morality is really a state of mind. Your personal respect will draw the line between right and wrong, good and bad. Let's be our brother's keepers. Reporting for WTV News, I am Winnie Otieno.
Now that story brings us to our feedback question. What is your opinion on the incident that saw a woman stripped by men in public? What is your opinion on the incident that saw a woman stripped by men in public? Now send us your thoughts on our SMS line on 20058. I will sample them and post them on our Facebook page, WTV Kenya. 5 films have been produced to honor anti-apartheid struggle icon Nelson Mandela on Thursday as part of the tribute to the world's loved leader. The films were commissioned by the Nelson Mandela Foundation and the Tribeca film actor Robert De Niro.
The series dubbed Power of Words was created specifically to showcase the written words of the former South African president who died on December 5th last year. The project paired world-renowned filmmakers and young emerging storytellers, one of them being a Kenyan, ZP Kimondo, co-director of A Fork, A Spoon and a Night, the story of an unknown slum boy who grew up to transform one of Uganda's largest slums into an internationally recognized chess sanctuary. In April, Mandela's words gave inspiration to another visual project, a digital diary that took over many of the electronic billboards of the New York Times Square for a whole month. The project was also an initiative of the Tribeca Film Institute. South Africa is preparing to mark 1 year since the death of Mandela, a man who took the nation away from the deep racial injustices left over from the apartheid era and forged a difficult path towards reconciliation. Mandela spent 27 years on Robben Island off mainland Cape Town and in other jails as a result of his struggle to end apartheid in South Africa before becoming the country's first black president. Agnes Minor reporting for WTV.
And in sports, the sensational Kenya football women's team that is led by the high-profile team captain Janet Wanja has once again made a big progress after being Group 3 for the 2015 edition of FIVB World Grand Prix that will be held in June 2015.
This will be the second year in a row that Kenya will take part in the Grand Prix after making their debut season in Mexico and Croatia. Another African team is Algeria, which is also ranked in Group 3, that is further split into two pools, Q and P. According to the fixture, Kenya will face Peru, Mexico and Colombia in Pool Q, while Algeria will be in Pool P that also includes Cuba and Australia. Then there will be a second round where Kenya will be in Pool S facing African rivals Algeria, Mexico and Australia in a round that may be hosted in Algeria. The finals will be held in Australia between July 10th and 12th, 2015. According to that, they have landed themselves 42 million sponsorship from National Oil Corporation, a partnership expected to last 3 years. This is the first ever major sponsorship for the Kenya women's volleyball team that has been known to conquer Africa for decades. The deal was sealed in Nairobi with the Kenya volleyball team expected to net 14 million shillings for the team each year.
And it's a wrap from our news desk. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jairo. Have a blessed night.